Hello and welcome back. Before we jump into this week's video, I just wanted to mention, if you're someone who lives in the Pacific Northwest, maybe you want to buy or sell a home, maybe you just want to know what the best pizza is in town. Well, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below because we're going to be posting lots of great content every single week, all about the Pacific Northwest, all about real estate, and you're going to love it. All right, this week's video, we're going to be talking all about the key differences between a winter market and a spring market. For those who are relatively familiar with real estate trends, we typically see that spring markets are considered to be the peak season for real estate. The reason for this being that, weather's nice, properties show nicer, there's usually an influx of buyers who are moving to town or away from town based on people relocating for jobs, people moving for, whatever. Their kids are out of school, they're starting their next chapter. And so we see a much higher demand for properties around that time of year. So this leads to a very competitive market and what becomes a seller's market. Low inventory and high demand equals seller's market. So that's a spring market. Now, for a winter market, what we typically see is, fewer buyers looking because most of them have already found their homes that they were looking to move into by the summer, or maybe they don't really feel like moving because it's raining out, or maybe they're waiting until the season picks up and nicer homes come on the market. It really just depends. But typically speaking, in a normal market, what we see is buyer advantage. Because of the fact that there are fewer buyers in the market, because of the fact that homes are sitting on the market longer, because sellers who are selling in the winter, maybe they have more of a compulsion to sell, more of a big reason as to why they're selling in an off season of the market, we'll see that buyers can sometimes get homes at a lower price than what they would be paying in a typical market. This can be a great opportunity for someone who maybe missed out on the spring market and they see a home that comes up and maybe it's not perfect, but you could get it for a lesser price than what you'd pay typically in the spring. It's a great opportunity for you. So there's a give and take on both sides, but I would say that typically speaking, you can look at spring market and say, okay, spring market, seller's market, winter market, buyer's market. But we're gonna throw all of that away because now that we're in COVID times, and because inventory has been shockingly low, abysmally low, the lowest we've seen in a very long time, this has resulted in a higher buyer demand that has continued past summer, past spring obviously, and now we're into fall. Inventory is still crazy low. Rates actually came down again, I believe. We saw a client who got pre-approved at 2.25 on FHA, which is unbelievable. And now we're in this time where people are still looking to buy. COVID has meant that more people are spending time at home, which means that there is a bigger urgency for work from home spaces. People are trying to partition out spaces for their kids for maybe, at-home school. Maybe beyond that, they are trying to find a larger lot that they could live on because they're trying to move family to town. They want to have a detached unit that they could have them stay in. What this has meant is that we have what is likely still a seller's market carried over from all the way back in spring to right now. My prediction for what's to come, obviously there's a big election that's coming up and that is super concerning for some folks, but contrastingly great opportunity for a buyer. Maybe some of those sellers some of those buyers that got more spooked by the elections and more spooked by what could happen with COVID are backing out. And so there's more room for those buyers that lost out before to capture that property they're looking for. In the coming months, I anticipate we will still see a relatively strong market for sellers. It's hard to predict what will happen with COVID, but what I can say is that rates are still super low, which means that for buyers, it's a great opportunity to buy something that they normally couldn't afford, or maybe have a lower payment than they would have normally had, which kind of makes, paying a premium a lot more worth it for folks. Or maybe things take a bit of a slowdown until spring. But I do not think our market is going to be drifting off anywhere anytime soon. I do think that, the folks that were primarily affected by the massive job losses that we saw were not necessarily the folks that were looking to buy homes at the time. And so there is still a very strong buyer's market, very strong number of buyers out there who are looking to purchase homes. All right, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I'm really glad that you're here, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you have any questions or want to talk about the market, or you want to talk about buying or selling a home, give me a buzz. I am here for you. And as always, feel free to subscribe, and my contact information is down below if you ever want to chat. All right, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.